Hey, I'm Ralph from Mousesports, and you're listening to TCR.
Okay, so let's start.
Hello, everybody. Hello and welcome. Welcome back to another edition of The Center Ring, aka TCR, aka your favorite esports podcast, episode 197, coming to you live and or pre-recorded from an undisclosed location. The date, December 8th, 2019. The time, 8:46 p.m. Central Time. This might just be the best episode ever, as we got e-news at the end of the show, as we always do, where we hit up topics and headlines that we just don't have time or the energy to get to during the show. ESL Pro League Season 10 wrapped up. So as the Counter-Strike year comes to an end, not just yet, but the season play comes to an end, we'll talk everything about that, what you need to know. And it's Monday, boys and girls, meaning you have a Yikes of the Week, everyone's favorite segment, as Anuj and I give our biggest Yikes of the week. But before we do that, you have to, and I mean have to, follow us on Twitter at The Center Ring. Go to our website, tcr.gg, join the Discord, follow us on YouTube, like or whatever, 5-star review us on iTunes, or any other device that you might listen to that you can do that on. We surely appreciate it. We do read those reviews, by the way. So, whatever that means to you. Well, let's say hi to the crew. Hello, my name is Tim. I will be your captain for this journey into esports. And alongside me, as always, it's my best friend, my brown friend. It's Anuj.
No need to listen to the last episode, but I was 100% correct in my predictions for ESL Pro League Finals. This is exactly what I told y'all would happen. And like I said, you don't need to rewind the tapes. Just know, TCR was right.
Well, I think we both have to get to the bottom of that one, because I don't know if we both are... Look, all right, we're the only ones brave enough to do an esports podcast. So we give our thoughts and opinions. Sometimes those come back to slap us in the face. But we'll defend ourselves. Soon enough, we will defend ourselves. Other than that, man, how was your weekend? How was your week?
We had my work Christmas party this weekend, so that was a lot of fun. My work makes it really bougie. You know, it's like a really nice Christmas party. Everybody's dressed up fancy. We bring all the significant others along, and so it's just a fun night where everyone gets to kind of hang out with each other's better halves, and that was fun. Obviously, this was a great weekend because I didn't have to watch the Cowboys this weekend. That saved me from some agony, some pain that I would probably be suffering in right now, right around this time usually. So it's perfect.
It's normally just setting in.
Yeah, it's just setting in that how badly we blew it. So man, it was a good weekend. How about you?
Wasn't awful. The Lions lost, which is exactly what you want at this point in the season. I don't want to see a W. I want to see hard-fought L's.
Give me those draft picks, baby.
Get me as close to that number one as you possibly can. Won some money. I won some money this weekend. Not a big deal. Won some from football and everything like that. I was smart. I did not bet Fnatic for the ESL Pro League. I really wanted to. Really wanted to put some cheddar, as the kids say, on Fnatic, but I was like, no. I knew it was a trap. right, once I saw that Mouse Sports finally made the finals, I knew it was a trap. So I didn't put money on Fnatic, but I also still was not confident enough in Mouse. So I put no money down on the
You
Pro
just
League.
bet on both teams, hedge your bet either way.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what though? I understand like for professional gamblers, hedging your bet is like how you know, not lose your house payment. But for my casual gambling self, hedging your bets for cowards.
Feels like cheating.
It really like I'm not about that life. Because hedging your bet is just essentially where you bet both teams enough to where you're gonna walk away with something.
Yeah, it's like smart in like big parlays, right? When you're betting like on big parlays and you're at the last game, you're basically a 50-50 shot to win at this point. You're in for little money to win maybe a decent chunk. Probably smart to hedge your bet at that point to bet the other side. That way, either way, you're going to come out a winner guaranteed at that point. But that's like on bigger parlays, 3-14 parlays where you're
Yeah.
down to the last piece of the bet. But yeah, in your case where you're just betting one team and you're just trying to let it ride, it's more fun to just
More
stick with
fun.
them and see what happens.
Ride or die.
Yeah.
I'm a ride or die
Yeah.
kind of gambler myself.
Yeah.
Ride or die. But no, you know, I had a pretty successful weekend. You know, we don't need to talk about that. But, you know, Green Bay didn't do me any favors. Go figure. Other than that, though, pretty darn good weekend for old Timmy boy. That doesn't mean, though, it was as good of a week for others, which is exactly why on Mondays we do Yikes of the Week. Would you like me to start on this one?
Go for it.
So this one happened, and, you know, we see it happen so much in the Overwatch esports scene, and really we kind of all knew it was going to happen eventually once the Overwatch League took off, and especially when Blizzard kind of changed how they do the Contenders League and their second tier esports and all that. Well, I feel like this is just the beginning of the end for tier 2 Overwatch, because when the Gladiators Legion drops out of the Overwatch Contenders League, to me, that's a major yikes. It's a major red flag for Overwatch, for Overwatch fans. Because let's be real. Yeah, the Overwatch League can be entertaining, but I think any successful sport, whether it be esports or traditional sports, has that farm system. They have something that you can build your skills up and then go to the big leagues. Well, when you have an Overwatch League team drop out of said farm system, it's just, to me, not a good look.
Yeah, but we've seen this trend now, right? Like it's not.
Well, because you
we've
just
seen
don't make money in
Overwatch.
it. You
don't make any money in it. There's no tournaments really for these guys to consistently go to find a way to at least make tournament winnings be a part of the salary. Overwatch is just an unusual place right now because it's a lot of the hype is built around the investments that were put into the game. I think the game still has this is a big proving year, I feel, for the game. There's a lot riding on this being a successful year. There's only so many years where we can go through a season and it's constant complaining or issues. You see that in other games, but really after they've been built up to a certain point, right? Like somebody yelling and bitching about
Right.
League of Legends. Well, hey, you kind of do that, right? But the game has been around for 10 years. Counter-Strike, same thing. Dota, same thing, I think this is a really important year for Overwatch to really show that it has longevity built into the game. We've kind of been hiccuping our way through these last, really 2 seasons. And so I think for Overwatch to find some longevity, if it's not going to be through the contenders route, they need to show it in the current game. And so it's going to be interesting. I feel like there's just a lot riding on this upcoming season for Overwatch League.
Yeah, and I don't know how you do it now, right? Because it's going to cost the team, the organization, money to do it, and unless you're going to promise or show them some sign of earning that money back or doing something, I really think at the start Blizzard should have made it a mandatory thing that, look, if you're in the Overwatch League, you have to have a contenders team. It's just the way it is, right? We need you guys to hype up this farm system, the second tier league, and then that way You know, it seems a little bit more legit. But the fact that these teams that are in Overwatch League can just go in and out and drop teams and everything left and right, I don't know.
That's not. Is that the team's fault, right? You said it yourself. It's probably not profitable.
No, I'm not
And
blaming the team. I'm not blaming the team at all because it's not. There's no way it's profitable.
Like Blizzard was busy sucking these teams dry every dollar to get into this league, right? They were charging $20+ million, according to reports, for these slots, right? And then to buy
so
into
this is
season
not a
2
yikes
even
that
more.
it's not a yikes on Gladiators. It's a yikes on the Contenders League. And
like what's going on as a whole.
Yeah. It's a yikes for that sense because, again, I think Blizzard's really missing out on an opportunity where, okay, you have the off season, and let's be real, like, how much Overwatch League do we talk during the off season? Not a whole lot, and unless you're just an Overwatch dedicated podcast and you're just gonna reach for certain storylines here and there that happen through the off season, there's really not a lot of noteworthy things that happen, other than negative
really
stuff,
nothing,
like
other
big
than
players
roster
retiring,
changes.
right?
Retiring or roster changes. That's
roster
it. We're not talking Overwatch at all.
No.
You know,
And this is something though that, you know, maybe it could at least hold your attention if you were into the game throughout, where there's nothing in, like, during the Overwatch League, you open up Overwatch and it just throws up Overwatch League on you, which I love, right? That's my beef with Call of Duty, that it just doesn't do that. You don't even know the CDL exists when you open up Call of Duty. Well, why not show some love for these contender teams then, right? Like, what does it cost for Blizzard in the grand scheme of things to pump up your own tires a little bit and show a little love for these guys? Because you know what? I do know, and I have some friends who run Overwatch teams, not even in the contenders, like the tier below contenders, and they're trying to get up to the contender league. And I'm like, I really want to ask the question, why? Like, what drive do you have to get there when Overwatch League teams themselves, who actually have a purpose to want to have because keep in mind, last season they introduced 2-way contracts where you could send players up and down from your contenders. Now, it wasn't the easiest thing to do, and it was, you know, issues there, but still, they had it. Like, even they're not finding value in just holding a spot for roster development.
It would be nice, like, if these teams did have, if they did have contender teams where maybe, like, players that played less than 50% of matches or maps, you know, during the season, were able to just hop down during the contenders in the off season to at least make contenders a little bit more relevant too, right? Like, part of it is they don't promote it, so we don't know the players, and if you don't know the players, you really don't draw a lot of interest in who's playing, right? Like, nobody cares about the city-based contenders teams. It's about the league. And so maybe if they allowed, like, made it easy for people that have played, you know, less than X amount of time during the season, that they can just hop on during the offseason onto a contenders team and make that a league throughout the offseason for them to participate in. But yeah, I mean, there's you know, a lack of interest, unfortunately, from Blizzard's side to make contenders work, and we've seen this trend now for over a year.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I just don't see it happening. I just don't think the money is there to be made enough to make these change, for Blizzard to care enough, and I think for orgs to care. I think it would honestly have to come from the orgs. I think it would have to come from the orgs going to Blizzard being like, hey, no one wants to do this because they're losing money. And then furthermore, for these guys that aren't tied to an Overwatch League team but still have a team in contenders, so what happens when you win the contenders? You'll win some money that way, right? If you're like one of the top ones, you still get money.
Yeah.
But what's going to happen to those players? You think they're going to stick around on your contenders team? No, they're instantly looking at to get poached from an Overwatch League team. So I don't know. I personally, it's not like I've ever looked at it seriously to run the numbers and check the books. I don't see any value of holding a contenders team at this very moment.
No, and like I said, that's why we're seeing these teams drop out.
And that's why it's a Yikes of the Week. So congratulations, Overwatch. You're back on Yikes. It's been a few weeks. You haven't had a Yikes of the Week. You've been doing good. Right on back.
If you're getting on the show, though, that's probably not the best way to get on.
No.
Like, Overwatch hasn't been on the show in a while.
No. Not a whole lot of off-season talk for Overwatch, but when it does, it's normally not a good thing. Not a good
Well,
thing.
Tim, sometimes it's hard, but sometimes it's so easy. And this week I feel like was a pretty easy one. It wouldn't be a Yikes of the Week without the beloved Call of Duty making its weekly appearance. This week it's presented to you by the developers. They sent out an email to inactive players in the game. So if you've played Call of Duty but you haven't played for X amount of time, you got a prompted survey email from them, and it was regarding what can we do to bring you back into the game. And then they gave a checklist of things that you could click on, and this became a double yikes for me. The first yikes being this is probably pretty relevant to those of us that are playing the game right now too. Just because I'm playing doesn't mean I'm happy with the current state of the game.
Maybe even more relevant, right? I don't want you asking opinions for people who aren't playing. They don't know the spawns. They don't know what's going on. They're like 10 patches ago.
And if they haven't played in like 3 or 4 weeks, you're right. Like there's a lot of changes. There's new maps. The meta has shifted, and so yeah, that's definitely the first half of it. The second half of it is they ask all these questions, but yet all the answers are right there in front of them. Just this past week alone, we have had a bug that allows you to sprint while you're prone, that goes invincible if you use a particular setup. You can actually crash a game if you are prone with an AK-47 with the fully loaded perk, 5 attachments. If you shot from the grenade launcher, it crashed the server.
Now that one,
Public
I think that one's at least been fixed.
It has. That
What?
one they did. There was a glitch that gave a player, unlimited wall hacks, an exploit to give 2 care packages for the price of 1. This is just in the past 5 days. These are things that are constantly coming up, and these are what you would consider like game-breaking bugs should they, God forbid, happen in a tournament or pro setting, which by the way, Call of Duty is about to start running in the next month and a half here. So yeah, for me, double yikes here. You got to get the feedback from those who are still playing. I know they are, and I know they're trying to do better, but there's just so much there to fix, and I don't know if they'll be able to do it all and make it the way people wanted in enough time to really show off the Call of Duty League.
Yeah, it's also kind of weird to be sending an email like this within a month and a half of your game being released.
Like how long have people been inactive for you to send the email? Like they quit week 1,
bro,
or they quit week 3?
it was like holidays. I had family in town. Chill. Like I didn't play for 3 days. I'm sorry. I'm back.
Did you get an email?
No.
Yeah,
I still
was about
play.
to say I don't think either of us would have.
I play enough, but I don't know, man. It's so weird. I don't know how games are made, and I'm not going to pretend like I do. But you guys do this every year. There's a new Call of Duty every year. And it's not like, yeah, Infinity Ward, Treyarch, Sledgehammer, whoever's doing it. You've done it before, right? Like, we know how to do it. Why is it every time a new Call of Duty comes out, it's like they have to reinvent the wheel on how it runs?
It's impressive.
I don't get it.
I mean, but again, there's a lot of pluses to this game, so I don't want to just sit here and just bash it. There are definitely a lot of things I like.
I have
about
definitely
the game.
came around on it in general, right? Like at the start, I was like, I kind of wish I just waited for the holiday sale to get it cheaper, but I really do enjoy playing it. Crash,
my biggest
overrated,
concern,
by the way. I think everyone likes that from nostalgia factor. And I remember enjoying it too. Not that great.
I think it's a trash map. No, and that's my biggest concern for the game right now is the map pool. I think the maps for comp play, it's going to be super interesting to see
how the pros
what I
play.
end up liking from a viewing standpoint. Because right now, I'll tell you from a playing standpoint, there's not many maps that are really desirable to me. In fact, I catch myself playing, maps like Shoot House, and I have fun on that map, but then I play some other nonsense Piccadilly, and I absolutely hate it. So I'm really curious to see how it is on the 5-on-5 settings. And once again, we said it before, but I hope they introduce that into the game, like a proper rank setup, because I think I would enjoy Call of Duty more that way.
Well,
If it was built in, I know I could go do game battles, but it's just a whole nother.
it's
It's
just
the
too
same
much
reason I
work.
don't
Like,
do ESEA and
we're casual.
FPL. Like I just want to get in and play.
I'm a casual tryhard, right?
Yeah,
Like
perfect.
I want to try hard, and I want to be sweaty, but I also just I only have like okay, my kid's asleep for an hour and a half. I have like an hour to play. Like get on and play. I cannot worry about looking up game battles and finding this or logging into that. I just want to open up the game and I want to try hard on a comp ladder.
Yeah. Yep, I agree.
Not
That's
to
why
bring
Halo's
not
been
to bring
nice.
Halo into this conversation, but day one they had it. Now I know they've had it like from years ago, but guess what? So has Call of Duty. Like please don't try to act like they don't know what this is. You can update the comp. Like and that's the other excuse people always give to Call of Duty is, well, they want to wait for the first event, and then that way you can get the first official pro ladders and their play sets and rules. Look, Call of Duty gives me like a gig patch every other week. You're telling me they can't throw in a different rule set for comp ladder, right? Like maybe one week this scope is allowed and the next week it's not. They can update that. They don't have to wait 4 weeks or 4 months for the first pro event to see how it goes.
Yeah.
We all generally know the idea of what a pro playlist should look like and what guns shouldn't be on it.
One day, Tim. One day.
One day we'll get it at launch for Call of Duty, but this one was not it. This one was not it. If I swear to God, if the Battle Royale mode comes out before I see a comp ladder, though, I'm finding someone. I don't know who.
Disappointed.
And I don't know what I'm going to do. I might just give him a stern talking to, but I'm going to be super disappointed.
I'll only be happy if they release them at least both before the Pro League comes out. I mean, I would like to see...
I've given up on that. I don't think that's going to happen.
It's like still 2 months away almost.
Yeah. I've just...
They've bored of this game in 2 months. I'll tell you, as a casual tryhard, Tim, I get bored of games quick. I move on quick if there's not a lot of new stuff for me to do. So I'll tell you, like 2 months of playing this exact game the way it is, no. It's
even with the
unlikely.
Season. Like even with the added season play?
Yeah, because first of all, the season's so damn slow. Have you tried to unlock stuff on there?
No, I was telling you the other night when we were playing. I'm like, at first I thought my experience was broken.
Yeah, I wonder if it's time based. If anyone's, if any of the listeners know, please let me know. I wonder if it's like a time based thing, and that's why I feel so slow. Because there's some maps where I just like straight dominate and it barely moves. I'm like, what is going on? So I don't know. I don't know if for 2 months I care to grind it out to get operators that, in my mind, don't look that cool anyway, right?
No.
So I mean,
nothing crazy. Nothing crazy.
Yeah.
I'd much rather just get on Halo, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, we'll move from Yikes of the Week and into CSGO in a second, but I just want to let everyone know I did some TCR field reporting. That's the news sounder. I, for the show, played with a controller on Halo Reach just to see what it was like. Just to dip my toe, just to dabble, dip your toe in, get a little wet. I just wanted to see what it was like because obviously that's the huge discussion. Like realistically, everything is perfect about Halo except for the fact that the aim assist on the controller is ridiculous, right? That's like the one complaint that I've seen. Even from pros are like Snipe Down was saying, I don't need this much assistant with a controller.
Yeah.
Like I'm acknowledging, yes, controllers need assistance just because it's the nature of the beast, but I don't need this much. Like if you're good enough, you don't need this much assistance. So I was like, all right, let me give it a shot. I plugged in a Xbox 360 controller that I still use for my PC. And now keep in mind, I have not played an actual FPS primarily with a controller. Realistically, probably since Halo. Like my 360 days. Because yeah, I got Call of Duty World War II and stuff like a couple years ago.
Probably Destiny 1 or something.
Yeah, I guess Destiny 1 and stuff. But even then, like, yeah, I guess Destiny 1 might have been it. But it's been a while. Like, it's been a while since I really used a controller. So I do not consider myself a controller player. My muscle memory is gone on a controller. Like, that time of my life has passed. I'm mouse and keyboard, PC Master Race till I die. It's there. The aim assist is definitely there. Now, I was not doing nearly as good as I was on a mouse and keyboard, but I could definitely see where if you were a controller player and you're used to that, you would
It's pretty
dominate.
nice.
You would, yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna have
Especially
a
in, like,
test run here because I do have a friend who is like a hardcore controller player, also very good at Halo, playing it even consistently now on his Xbox coming over. And
Okay.
so I'm gonna throw him on there. I'm gonna put the controller on. Like he wanted to try mouse and keyboard just to see what it was like. So it's kind of the opposite. I'm
Maybe
gonna
have him
plug the
do both
controller
then.
in for
Yeah.
him. Yeah,
I'm curious
yeah.
then to see, because I could, like, for the close to mid range, I mean, it tracks it, dude.
It
Like,
grabs.
even the first time I was playing and I was like, all right, let me just see what this is. I'll jump into a team SWAT just to see. Dude, that first pull, like when you get near
You
that
knew right
person,
away.
I mean, yeah, you do. You know right away that it's there from a
Again,
considerable
I've seen
distance.
videos of it. I mean, I've seen people do like test videos of it in game, and it's very noticeable. I mean,
Yeah.
there's
So,
no denying it. We've heard it from several people. So
like I said,
glad we
even
got
from the
some
pro scene.
firsthand take from us on this.
Yeah,
But
from the pro scene. Like I said, I wasn't as good as I was with the mouse and keyboard, but I'm also acknowledging that I'm probably also really bad. Also, maybe it was just from I'm not used to that much aim assistance, right? Maybe I'm so pro, I'm like, game, like, why don't you loosen the leash a little bit?
like, I want to get it on the head, not
Let
the
me
chest.
be free, let me spread my wings a little bit. Let my natural skills take over. So it's definitely there, and I know they said that they want to push Halo esports to the PC side because naturally I think that's where the bigger fan base is. Oddly enough, that's weird to say about a Halo game, but I think the fan base is on PC now.
Yeah.
I don't see them allowing controllers, which would be a shame because obviously Halo always was on console. So you have all these former pros now, and it's kind of like it would suck if some of them weren't able to make that transition to mouse and keyboard. I would imagine most of them could, but you never know.
A lot won't be able to, though, obviously, right? Because
Yeah.
you're going to have a new generation of player also coming in. But it does suck for former professionals. I do think they should limit it to one or the other. However they want to do it, if they choose to make it, hey, this is on PC, but it's a controller event, great. I think they should run it one way or the other, not the way Fortnite currently does it, where hey, we're just throwing everybody into this big pool and like go play. I feel like it should, for competition purposes, either be left
gotta
or
be
right.
one or the
Like
other.
choose your way. Yeah.
I will also say this though, because it was bad enough where, and I love you, Halo players. So if you're a listener and you play Halo, I love you. But if you send me some highlight reel of you popping off on Halo, and then I come to find out that you use a controller on PC, I am not completely unimpressed, but I'm close. Like it was
slightly less interested.
It was strong enough to be like,
Now I heard
as
sniping
nice.
on PC is supposed to be better.
It is, oddly enough, yeah, using a sniper with a... So it's weird. Scoping in with a controller, I felt very difficult. No scoping with a controller, though, I popped off like 4 headshots in a row. That felt really good for whatever reason. But yeah, I don't know. It definitely was there, though. I'm curious then to see when your friend comes over, have him play with that controller on Halo and be like... Because if he plays on 360, or not 360, that dates me, though. Xbox One. I wonder because there's obviously some assistance with it on console, regardless of frame rate.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's like, wow, this is a lot more than on console, or it feels about the same, or.
Yeah, because he does a good job in, Call of Duty. So I'd be curious to see him. Come try Halo on the PC.
Yeah, get back to us then. Do some TCR field report for us and bring us Bring us some news. Bring us some news. Speaking of news, ESL Pro League Season 10 wrapped up just earlier today from Odense, Denmark. So in complete esports tradition, it is
You said that funny.
Denmark?
No, Odense, the way you just...
Odense?
Yeah, no, it's right. It's right. It just came out very like...
I'm not
tried to be very proper with it. I wasn't sure.
Well, it wasn't proper. It was lack of confidence. I saw the first half of the word, and then I was like, yeah, no, it's Odense.
Odense. We'll go with that.
Odense, maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know. But in perfect esports tradition, it's impossible to have the home crowd be happy. Isn't that funny how that works? You are in the land of the number one team in the world by a mile. A team that could dominate anyone on any given day. And they don't make the finals.
This had Liquid Astralis written all over it, did it not? Kind of felt that way.
I felt like that
up.
train wasn't going to be stopped. It really felt like it was just their destiny.
Yeah, I agree.
Now we do have to, let me clarify something, because in our Discord, which you can join by going to our Twitter, at the Center Ring on Twitter, there's a link there. Some of our listeners were giving us grief, Anuj, because I made the comment saying I think Mouse Sports is a hard stuck at, lower top 10 in the world. I think that they are what they are. And then I think you also made a similar comment to back up my statement and everything there, correct?
Yeah, I said the only thing that what they have going for them is they're young. They're like very, very young, right? So if they stuck together, they could get better, obviously.
And I know not everyone has years of radio experience and audio engineering like me, so I'll try to break this down for you. Sometimes in recording, things get lost and things get cut off. I think what you didn't hear, that we definitely said on the show, but we really feel like Mouse Sports is going to turn it around in this event.
Yeah, this was an easy pick.
This was a very easy prediction, in my opinion. In this esports expert's opinion, very easy.
Coming off of that last Asia tournament win that they just had.
Who wouldn't have thought that you would go in and just dominate?
A perfect way to end the year. No, for them, it's funny because...
What other way to warm up for the ESL Pro League finals?
Well, it's crazy to me because they had a gauntlet to go through, man. This was not an easy tournament run for them by all means. I mean, they initially lost to Liquid, falling into the losers bracket, right? They played them well, but they lost 2-1, falling into a lower bracket, had to make their run from there. They played a hot Renegades team. Oh, wait. That would be 100 Thieves. Just kidding. They played a Renegades team who's Greyhound Gaming now. Not so hot, but they did advance past them. They got a little fortunate
because... You
really
got to think, okay, did you actually mean Renegades or did you mean 100?
No, I meant 100 Thieves. Yeah, they played Renegades, awesome. Who's Greyhound. And they got a little fortunate because they didn't have to play G2 in the lower bracket finals. G2 had got upset by ATK the previous game. But from there, I mean, Tim, they get into the playoffs. You'd think every team has a chance, but you see they have to take on Evil Geniuses, who had been playing fairly well leading up to this. Obviously, they had lost to Navi the round before, but have been playing well. They're going to have to get through Astralis, which nobody believes they can do. And then whoever they would end up playing in the finals was going to be another tough matchup. But they showed a lot this event. I mean, they showed why, saying somebody is staying in the top 10 is not necessarily, I feel like, a knock on a team. It's just we know how tough it is to be 1, 2, or 3 right now in Counter-Strike. Like, those are very tough spots to get into with teams like Astralis and Liquid, who are so good 1 to 5 across the board. Mouse, on the other hand, we've seen so much up and down from them that it is hard to predict, hey, this is a tournament they have the ability to go and win. But man, I mean, Rops played top tier, I thought, throughout the whole tournament. I mean, really looked like an MVP. He did walk away with it. Spoiler alert there. But they even had to fight their way through some adversity in a lot of these matches to make it through. These weren't easy blowout wins, even in the finals when they win 3. It wasn't easy for them, right? In the Astralis game, it's 1-1 headed into map 3. They're down like what 14-8, 14-9 possibly, and you have Glaive waving to the crowd goodbye after they get that 14th round, thinking that it's over, and they had to claw their way back into that matchup. Same thing in the Evil Geniuses matchup. They were down and had to fight their way back, and so really a gutsy performance by
16-0ing Evil Geniuses though on Nuke.
that Nuke game was one of the best played Nuke matches you will see.
Now, can I also, because we do have egg on our face from our comments on Mouse, but like you said, like if I was a Counter-Strike team or an org and you told me I was hard stuck top 10, I think I would be somewhat happy with that. We also said last week though, is that with this latest patch or with this latest meta, that if you see a complete blowout, it means a lot more now than what it did back in the days of 5 eco rounds in a row or something like that, right? To get 16-0'd on Nuke, nonetheless.
On
like
Nuke, where
Nuke
it's
is
like
a map where it's like,
so,
guys, eventually, like when it starts getting to like, I don't know, 12, 13-0, I'm telling my team to stack a site every round just so we don't get shut out. Because that's all you got to do on Nuke. Like, realistically, just stack a site.
I mean, if you're going to 16-0 somebody on Nuke, I mean, they were on the side that was going to happen, right? I think starting T side. Although we've seen the balance
they started CT side. Mouse did.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Mouse started CT. Yeah, if you're gonna get 16-0, yeah, if you're going to get 16-0, then the T side is the side to do that. Although we've seen much more balance on the map as a whole, but yeah, that was an ugly game. For EG to kind of end the year on that note, unless they're playing in Blast Pro, I don't know if they are or not. But to kind of finish off your season that way. That's a tough one.
Yeah,
that's one you want to forget.
That's kind of stepping off too from what we were talking about last episode again, man. Is that to me at ECS here in Arlington, EG looked off to me. And to hear those comments afterwards where Tarek was saying how, oh yeah, we feel like we got a little bit of our swagger back. We felt like we played well at ECS. I mean,
felt like it was a bounce back event for them.
Yeah,
it was funny
sure, they might have had some a decent, final placement, but man, some of those wins were a little bit more sweaty than what they had to have been. And yeah, I feel like they kind of bounced right back to that stage now of, okay, so if you had a confidence boosting event from ECS, you just got knocked out of ESL playoffs getting 16-0'd. Like, what does that do to you now? And you don't really have an event soon to come to bounce, just to quickly forget. I think they're going to have to sit on that one for a little bit. Yeah,
and I mean, were there any, for you, did you feel like there's any other surprise performances out of this tournament that stood out to you?
First off, I think shout out to Kerrigan, the IGL for Mouse. I think everyone knew he was a top IGL, right? There's a reason that Envy signed him knowing it was going to be temporary, but just to be if we can get a few events out of this guy, so that way Naft and everyone can learn under him, people see value in that. So we knew that one was there, but I think this event definitely showed off. I think they either won. Let me see here. 1, 2, 3, 4,
well,
5,
yeah,
6,
I think
7.
the most impressive.
Yeah, so they won on this map or on this event. They played 7 different maps and won them. So I think that speaks volume to the IGL, but also their map pool. But also, Woxic to me, man. I almost would give him my MVP. In the finals especially. That dude
he had some
was
crazy op shots in the finals. Yeah.
There was one moment with Woxic real quick that I really did want to just grab his head and shake it, is because it was on, oh crap. I think it was, yeah.
It was overpass.
You know
where
what
he
play I'm
missed
talking
a wide
about.
open shot. The guy was walking away from him, and he whiffed it. I think it was down like bathroom lane or
okay,
something.
so there was that one, but no, I think it was on Inferno. They played Inferno that last one too, right? Yeah, Inferno is he's sitting up in apartments on balcony. There's a dude, I think it was someone on Fnatic, doesn't matter for the story, was diffusing in the smoke. And he's sitting here.
It was golden. It was a 10-second diffuse too.
Yes, and he's sitting here trying to op through the smoke to get him, and then he's pulling out his pistol and just shooting randomly in the smoke, and then he gets the diffuse, and Woxic, you could definitely, like, did you see him rage a little bit?
He was frustrated.
He had
for
that
sure.
quick, and then like instantly, like I think the player next to him, like Chris J or whoever, and then the coach ran up to him and was like, "Hey, dude, it's okay. Like
this happens.
We're
like,
rolling right now. It's okay." That was the one that I felt like, I don't know, like a little more of a heads up play, right? Like, dude, you missed your first 4 op shots. Maybe just go into the smoke, right?
Yeah, like get up close and personal in that situation, or maybe he didn't know he was still in there. But yeah, that was definitely a bad one because again, that was a 10-second defuse.
Should never happen.
But I agree with both of those. I thought Kerrigan had some incredibly important rounds, right? So even if he wasn't top fragging necessarily, we saw, I think 1, maybe even 2 really good ace rounds from him. There was a couple rounds on Train where I know he was like manning down the sites and really saved them in some tough situations. So, Kerrigan was definitely a standout player in this tournament for me. And you're right, Woxic. I mean, Woxic is just
unreal.
Ungodly gifted. He's just a talented player. His flicks are generally, when they're on point, he is one of the best operators in the world. Two standout players for me in this tournament. Electronic, I think, in this tournament as a whole, stepped up alongside with Simple. And there was times where I thought Simple was struggling a bit, although Simple had an amazing tournament himself. But I thought Electronic really had some amazing games, and it's unfortunate that we didn't get to see them a step further. I would have kind of loved to see that matchup almost in the finals if we could have had a Navi Mouse Sports finals. But I think this will jump them up in the rankings a little bit and possibly get them back into the top 10. But Brolin for me, I didn't realize how good he was. I know they wanted him to kind of be the star player, and they set up a lot of their plays for him to be the star in those situations. But man, this guy with the SG in his hand is on another level. He makes it look so easy with that gun. And there were just so many plays. I mean, there's a reason they were in the finals, and he was a very big reason they were sitting there. I thought obviously other reasons with JW opping the way he was opping. Prims was a consistent fragger throughout the tournament.
I mean, I really felt like Fnatic did play well. It's just Mouse Sports. So Rops, you heard him on the liner of the show. Huge fan of the show. He listens all the time. I think he listened to last week and the team rallied around our comments.
Most likely.
Because
that's probably on their board.
It really, though, like it felt like after Inferno, or even like midway through Inferno, the finals had a feeling. Like you just got that feeling that this was not going to end well for Fnatic. And I didn't think it was going to be a 3-0 sweep. I'll tell you what, the real winners of this entire event are those fans that got there, because may God have mercy on their souls if they had to stick around for a full best of 5.
Well, we wouldn't be able to do the show until probably around midnight tonight.
It would have gone to our 200th episode if it was doing the best of 5, because that would have been ridiculous.
No, yeah, definitely happy that ended in a timely manner today. It did feel good.
Yeah, one other thing that kind of stood out to me was, and this was especially on Inferno, but it was round 1, like first eco round. Fnatic is on the T side. They used a lot of utility on a pistol round now. Am I dumb? Have I not noticed this? Is this a normal thing now? Like on a pistol round, they're smoking, they're mauling, they got flashbangs.
It's unusual that they had that much. Usually what you'll see is like one person maybe stack up on a little bit of utility.
Yeah, it was like a full, they won that round, but it was like a full-on sight hit.
It's funny because we're not seeing these second rounds. I'm still not seeing the Galil or the FAMAS pop up at all.
I still have not received one apology from the CSGO talking heads that said this was the end of CSGO, and we were the only show brave enough to say you're wrong and dumb.
Wait and see.
Yeah, just
And it
wait and
didn't
see.
happen. We're kind of seeing. I mean, it's not like the meta has shifted a ton other than the SG being involved, in my opinion. Now, again, I'm not like a crazy expert when it comes to like the ins and outs of everything CSGO, but I feel like I know a decent amount. And right now I'm still seeing heavy buys on second round instead of like a full save, right? You're still seeing full Deagle armor buys, with the scout purchase in there, and then a third round full eco. We saw it a handful of times with Mouse. In fact, they won one of their full eco rounds, but we're still seeing if you lose that first round, you buy up second round as much as you can, and third round you save. I personally would probably just do a full save round 2 and do a full buy round 3, but we're not seeing that as much. I mean, we're still seeing teams generally do a full buy and try and take that second round on
They're
a.
not willing to mess up the economy for Galil or FAMAS or something like that. And even
Yeah,
then,
well, it's
like,
funny that they would prefer to still buy the Deagle armor and utility, right? So
yeah.
if they get the FAMAS, then that limits them on their utility, and they're still going the Deagle route.
So for me too, it's like looking here at the top weapons for this event. You had the M4A1 at 21%, the OP at 12. This is all give or take a few percentages here. AK was 23%, and the SG was 20%. I mean, for me, is the SG high? Of course. If you're comparing it to SG in the past, where you would never see it unless Shroud was playing, yeah, that's very high. But of course, in my humble opinion, I don't hate seeing that type of. Now, I do think it's a little ridiculous that it's a one-shot headshot with a scope, right?
With a high rate of fire.
Yeah,
I still
with
think it's
high
too
rate of
strong.
fire. When the CT side has none of that, right? They have an M4 with a lower rate of fire and not a one-shot headshot. It's not balanced by any means.
Utility becomes like very expensive on the CT side, and so I still think that there's balance issues. I just don't think it's in the early rounds like we thought it may be. I think the balance is now in the mid to late game where the SG is a dominant weapon. It really is a dominant weapon. I would love to either see one of two things happen. Either bring the what's it called? The AUG back into play and balance it out and
I did see
buff up the
Kerrigan
AUG
use
and
that
make
a
that
little bit.
a contender. Because right now the CTs only have one weapon choice. I mean, it's a clear favorite for the M4 and then really, nothing else at that point. So I think they either got to balance it by bringing the SG down back to reality a little bit and either buffing the price, reducing the rate of fire, like doing something, or giving the CTs another option, which that is always tough because either it's introduce a new weapon or buff a weapon that you currently have, and we haven't seen a great track record on kind of either one of those notes. So still, there are some issues. I just don't think it's necessarily in the early rounds like a lot of people were anticipating.
Yeah. One other thing that stood out, or a few other things that stood out for me, one other player I will say was Kenny S. Even though, yeah, they did struggle, there was that moment where before G2 got eliminated, I mean, he was looking really solid, almost like old Kenny S.
They looked good up until they ran into ATK. I mean, they were looking
until they ran into the
fairly-
wall that is
Yeah.
ATK.
until they ran into ATK and kind of got demolished there.
Then
They
you
they
just look
did
like G2.
have some bright moments, and so again, they have some good players. I think they're looking forward. They should be looking forward to 2020 with the team that they have because they've invested back into the team. Nexa and Hunter are not bad pickups at
No.
all. So
Should we be concerned the fact that I almost forgot FaZe Clan was even at this event?
pretty quick elimination for them.
I
They
mean, you're
did beat
talking a
Ty
team
Lue.
that has Nico, Olafmeister, Cold Zera. I mean, this should be a team that we talk about on a almost show-to-show basis if they're in an event.
There is no easy fix or solution because they would have found it by now. There's obviously a bigger issue there. My guess is it's still the same thing that we've talked about for a year, is they don't have a true in-game leader. I don't even know who's making calls for them, to be honest with you right now. And I don't think anybody on that team really should have that title. And so there
Liquipedia is showing Nico, but I know for a fact that's on and off because sometimes he'll say like, "Oh, I don't have to in-game lead this event," and it was
but
great.
that's a problem when you're not getting a consistent voice, right? Like so um you can sit here and be, how many times can you change out a fifth player or just keep subbing out the same, like, is Brokey the issue? Well, I think all of these guys collectively are the issue right now because it has been a while since we've seen anything consistent from these guys. I mean, there was the Blast Pro event that they won earlier, but really since then they failed to really get above third place in any event. They're having trouble getting out of the first round in a lot of events, including this one. Right when they dump into losers, they're gone. So you're right. FaZe is a team we should be talking about a lot. They have so much star power and they can't put it together, man. I mean, they just can't, and I don't think there's an easy fix there.
No, it's like, kind of like you said. If there was, they would have found it. You would have thought adding Cole to the roster was that fix, but again, you're just adding another raw shooter on that front, which you already have Nico that was supposed to be that raw shooter.
In all honesty, though, they have enough like firepower that where they should win some games just based on that alone, right? You would think. Like if you have
Yeah.
Nico, Cold, Olaf, and Rain on your team, like all of these have been considered top 5 players in the game at one point. 2 of them still actively considered top 5 players, right? And I say top 5, take it with a grain of salt in terms of this past year. Like these guys have been very, very highly touted players. So for them to not just win some games on raw talent makes me believe that there's a bigger issue here because they can't find a way. There's not like they don't win easy matches. Like no game feels easy. It all feels like grinded out, and it comes down to the end. And can they pull it off? And usually the answer is no, as of late. So yeah, they have ongoing issues, and again, they have the talent. It's just kind of Dallas Cowboys-esque now that I say it out loud. They have the talent.
Very.
Is missing coaching. Like what is it?
Very,
so,
very Cowboy-esque now that you make that comparison.
yeah.
So leading into this weekend, we have ESL, not ESL. We have the Blast Pro
Dubai, right? That's in
with their
Bahrain.
global finals, Blast Pro Series, their global finals, and then we have CS Summit. Now, Mouse is going to CS Summit. That's about the only team you're going to find interest in. OG.
Not true. OG Esports will be in there, and that's going to be their debut match. And I think that's really cool that they're attending this event. There's only going to be 6 teams at this event right now. We have Mouse, G2, OG,
MIBR, Furia, VP.
Is MIBR confirmed?
Yeah.
Okay, who's the 6th one?
So you have Furia, G2, MIBR, OG, Mouse, and Virtus Pro.
Virtus Pro, wow.
Somewhat
All
ragtag group.
Yeah, but again, I think OG Esports being in this event will have a chance to show that they can look decent right out of the gate. I think that would mean a lot, and this is a tournament to be able to do that because there's only a handful of teams that are going to be overly competitive. But I think the Blast Pro tournament also has potential to be good. We do have obviously a Charlotte and Liquid both in it. We do have FaZe in it. If they manage to do something to finish off the year, could this be the lift that they need going into next season? And then NIP,
which kind of falls into that category of you just don't know, right? They're kind of the weird team that you see. You're like, okay, Liquid, Astralis, FaZe, okay, and IP, okay, maybe. We saw ECS was going to be Force's last tournament, but he is still on the roster as of now. So, maybe they'll have one good send off for him. For Blast Pro, it's not 100% yet, but I think we're going to do it, is we are going to have the first ever TCR's casting couch. So this is where we will be streaming on all of our streaming platforms, Twitch, Mixer, YouTube, whatever. And it's just us commentating on the game as it's going on. Now, we won't have the game on our stream just because broadcasting rights, we can't do that. But you watch the game with us, you follow along. It should be a good time. I think it's going to be fun. It's going to
We throw some betting odds out there and talk some bets as we're going along through this. Maybe some prop bets that come up
100%. I'll put some money down on a team.
Make it a little interesting.
Yeah, so this will be for the finals, Saturday, 11 a.m. our time. That's Central. So do the math for wherever you live.
I did get the green light on my end, so we are good for this.
Okay, and I think that's really the only thing. So
yeah,
I might have a gender reveal I have to go to, but you know what? I mean, the show is work, so
it's work, Tim.
I got to go to work. I mean, someone's got to turn on the light bulbs, you know? I'll take out my wife in the front yard, turn her around and say, "You like this roof? You like what
Let's keep it.
Yeah, you like that food on that table? You want that to stay? I got to go over to a Nugent's. We're doing casting couch." So that will be on Saturday. So, one last thing. Do you have anything else for ESL Pro League?
No, is Casting Couch going to be on Pornhub as well, or can you not find it on
We're working on that. We're working on how to do a multi-stream to Pornhub. Eventually, I think we can get it to work out. And you know what? If Pornhub has a market here, they could get streamers. If they wanted to exclusively have the center ring on Pornhub, I'd do it.
Do you like Pornhub? Because you'll love Pornhub Live.
Right there, it just comes so natural, right? We can promote that. We can promote that. Hey, have the center ring. So what was I gonna say before you distracted me with Pornhub? Oh, with ESL Pro League.
Yeah.
One final thought for me on that, and I just want to always give a tip of the hat when this really stands out, because I really do feel like production in esport is painfully boring. I think a lot of tournament organizers have found what works for them and then just pretty much write it off. Every event is going to be the same, UI, and every event's going to have the same break and the breakdowns and stage setup. Esports, let's be real, unless you're looking at the international or League of Legends finals, they really don't get too creative with stage setup or presentation. Sometimes with a major, maybe here and there, but overall,
you kind of go with what works theory.
Yes. Yeah, they don't reinvent the wheel with that. Well, with this time, they did throw in a little something new, and I loved it, was when they used Skybox, which is Onder's kind of spectator game breakdown program. And I loved that they had Sponge, or Chad, as people call him now, breaking down the games on that screen. And even like mid-match, they would be like, "Oh, let's throw it to Sponge," and he would quickly like throw like a breakdown of what just happened,
the diagram of what's going on.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
I loved that. I really felt like it helps explain to people what's actually going on in these plays, and that yes, these are set up plays and this is what happened. And so props to ESL for trying something new. I know analyst wise, but I really felt like this tournament, it just looked good, right? It wasn't
it worked.
Yeah, it wasn't them in front of a screen just telling you. It looked,
and he's like the right person to do it because he does such a good job of breaking down the games. Like he just knows it so well, coming from an in-game leading role too, that he's like the right person to like do that and make it right. Props to them because that was cool and nice addition.
Definitely. All right, that's it for ESL Pro League. Let's get into some e-news. Already talked about the upcoming CSGO events for this weekend. CS Summit and Blast Pro Global Finals. Again, we will be doing a casting couch for the Blast Pro Finals, like the finals of the finals. So Saturday, whoever is in that matchup. So we'll be casting Liquid and Astralis. So that should be fun. So it's finally happened. C9 has officially, the rumors have been officially put to rest as Daps, Automatic, and Kusta all sign with Gen G. leaving Mixwell as the only active player on the roster.
Sad day.
It
That's
really... Look, you knew it was going to happen. Automatic looks like he has stopped caring about Cloud9 for a while. It's actually been rumored for even longer than this that he was looking at getting off the team. He was almost like, wasn't he also part of the rumor to go to MIBR or Liquid or something, right?
Yeah, that he could be a potential replacement. That was more rumored. That was around the NAF stuff, I think, when that was going on.
He's been a part of every rumor. Anytime an NA team
but
loses,
yeah, you're right. Like, he's been looking... He wants to win, right? And that was not happening on this team. And yeah, the transfer leaves them in obviously the rebuilding process. It'll be interesting to see if they want to build around Mixwell or how they choose to do this. But yeah, as of today, there is no Cloud9 in Counter-Strike. That is weird to say.
And they say they're coming back, right?
They do. Yeah.
I don't know when. Like, is this going to be like 2 years down the road they come back? Are they going to buy out a roster? I don't think rebuild is the best way to go. I think you just buy out a roster.
You buy something that is going to give you some quicker success than trying to do like a slow play rebuild here.
Yeah, I felt like Cloud9's too has just been in an awkward spot since the major. Like, almost that they stopped caring about the Counter-Strike team once they won the major. Like, as a Cloud9 fan, I might just be saying this as a fan and being knee-jerky and dramatic, but it really almost seems like once they won that major, they checked off the box. Overwatch League started, so they've been distracted with the London Spitfires, and it's just...
It's more unfortunate that Stewie wanted to leave. Had Stewie not wanted to leave, this would have been fine.
You think once the players started
Stewie
leaving...
Well, because you had Stewie leave, and you had Tarek retire, right?
Skadoodle.
Or Skadoodle, I'm sorry, not Tarek. You had Skadoodle retire. So... now you just lost 2 out of the 5 stars on this team. It was just a tough spot to be in because Stewie was really the heart and soul of that team. I think everybody knew that. Like, he was just the guy. Cloud9 was built around him.
Look at exactly what Stewie does for Liquid. He did for Cloud9.
Yeah. So I think losing Stewie is the reason that all of this is even taking place today, that we don't have a Cloud9 roster today, because it was too hard to replace. They wanted to stay NA. They could never find the right formula of players to bring in. There really wasn't much out there for them to choose from if they were trying to stay, if they were trying to stay within the US anyway, or US, Canada, type situation there. But yeah, it's unfortunate. I think for Gen G, these are some good starting pieces. I fear that they could run into the same situation that Cloud9 just did, unless the other 2 players are at the level of Tim or better. But that's not easy to do. So I don't know what options they have. I think Kusta might go back to the op for them. He wasn't opping as much on Cloud9. You had Mixwell also touching on that a little bit. It'll be interesting to see what Gen G does with this roster and how they kind of build it out, because I think they really just poured it over a team that hasn't been performing well at the end of the day. As much as we love Tim and these guys, like, they were not doing well, and that's what Gen G is currently. So it'll be interesting to see where even they go from here. Maybe a change of scenery
will make it better for them.
I think that does help. There is a part of that that's definitely true. But at the same time, you got to have talent. And so we'll see what they do with the last 2 spots. We'll see what Cloud9 does moving forward. But yeah, it is a tough day for Cloud9 fans across the globe here.
In Overwatch, Florida Mayhem announced that they will be officially hosting, I think but maybe just some, of their 2020 home games at Chuck E. Cheese.
I really thought it was a meme. So I saw this on Twitter. Tim and I have like a scrolling thread going on of things we want to talk about in E-News. We screenshot it, we throw it in there, something for us to remember later on, right? So now you know the secrets and the inner workings of TCR. And so we throw our news in there. I see this pop up on my feed. I didn't click it. I thought it was a joke. I thought it was a meme. I was like, no way.
No.
Like, you have the Paris team in this beautiful, like, intricate globe-looking arena, and all these other teams making their new arenas or signing with these places that, hey, at least sound fancy, right? And then Chuck E. Cheese. And hey, this is not a knock. This might be a gorgeous arena, and it might be a wonderful setup. But it's just to show, like, when it first came out, I really thought it was a meme
And
that,
it
that we were
was
looking at.
somewhat of a meme. It's just a meme that they're going through, right? So this all started a couple months ago, and I'm probably getting my facts a little skewed, but it was like someone said on Twitter, hey, you should do your home games at Chuck E. Cheese. And then Chuck E. Cheese responded, let's do it. And then like from there, it just snowballed into everyone really wanting them to do their games at Chuck E. Cheese. And so,
Here we are.
it's a corporate sponsor, I guess. So it should be fun nonetheless. Other Overwatch news that is not as fun for fans of the league. This was almost my yikes of the week because I felt like we probably could have talked a little bit more about it. But Jake and Pine are both retiring from the Overwatch League.
It kind of blows my mind
That's
because, like,
tough.
so, Jake, for me, has almost been one of the faces of the Overwatch League over the past couple.
100%.
Like,
He was the
like
one
he's
that went
all
on
over-
talk shows and everything.
And so, again, this kind of all goes back to our initial conversation of, are these guys retiring because they just don't feel like they're good enough to compete anymore? Like, I highly doubt that at their age. Or is this more like they see other opportunities that are going to be more long-term
Do
successful?
they see the writing on the wall, right?
Yeah, like some of these guys going back to school or whatever, whatever the reasoning may be. They see a better opportunity elsewhere than being a professional athlete, in
So
a growing industry.
and this is why I almost wanted to make it yikes, because I think there's more to talk to than just what we allow for e-news. But I think it's multiple reasons. Jake, you are looking at that he has some notoriety in the league now. I can almost promise you going to get a job with the league, whether it be talking on the desk or doing something, right? So maybe he just decided, you know what, I can make money doing this and not play 80 hours a week, right? I can have a life and I can still be a part of the game. But what also with these two, I think that could probably also, I think it's definitely a factor, no doubt, is both of these players, Jake and Pine, were both huge fan favorites, especially in Season 1. Well, through all the patches and whatnot, the meta changes. DPS are irrelevant. It's a trash game right now. Apparently, this update's coming out on Tuesday that's supposed to help that. But both of these guys were riding the bench all season long last year. They saw very little playtime.
Yeah.
So maybe it was just they both are saying, hey, you know what? This isn't worth it, right? The traveling, the long days and nights, and not being able to do the things I want to do to ride the bench, right? You had me as a starting player Season 1. Like, Pine was a top DPS player Season 1, goes to a bench warmer Season 2. So I could definitely see where he's like, you know what? I see the light. I see where this meta is going. I see the direction the game wants to take it. I'm bowing out.
I mean, I kind of hope it's more than that because
You hope, but these are also young guys.
To me,
and
that's
kids.
like, man, you're quitting after one season of being on the bench. Like, why
Yeah.
not just try to improve and get better and like get into the starting lineup again or find something that works for you? And so, again, I'm not saying that is the reason of why
Yeah.
these guys are quitting. It's just
it could also just
I
be,
kind of hope
the
it's
grind, right?
yeah, like maybe they see a better opportunity or something. But that would be unusual for like you said, a guy like Pine who is a starter, a premier player in the league, has one off year where he's getting benched because the meta is not in his favor, possibly, to be like, oh, it's never going to shift back, or it's not worth getting good at another character, or whatever the situation. So, yeah, it's just interesting.
It's a big hit.
For sure.
I think it's a big hit for the league, though, for those two to drop the same
Yeah.
week. So, just a shame to see two guys that I think everyone liked a lot to bow out. But here we are. League of Legends announced, or Riot, I guess, announced that they set up a group called Riot Forge that will work with third-party devs. So what does that actually mean?
I'm assuming that they're going to create other games, possibly in the Riot, like in the... okay, this is how I took it. This could be wrong. What I'm hoping is that they're giving other third-party developers the opportunity to make games within the League of Legends world, and maybe they're like having some of their developers work with them to make sure it stays within a consistent theme of, you know, the Riot world that they've created. So I don't know if that's exactly what it is. Maybe we should have looked into that a little bit more before we dove in. But that's the take that I get from it, is that there's going to be other developers working on games possibly in the League of Legends world, whether that's an RPG or an MMO or something, and they're giving them some developers to go in and help, you know, create some of that work and make sure it stays.
It's interesting nonetheless, just because you never hear, you know, Riot for years were so closed off. So interesting.
Yeah.
Riot also, I don't have the number in front of me, settled on their lawsuit about like sexual assault and just mistreating women in the workplace. So I know they settled on that. So I guess they can put that behind them. I think ultimately everyone knows what was going on in there. It doesn't take a genius to kind of put two and two together. So there's that. I don't think anyone truly cares about it. Unfortunately, I don't think the masses care about it at all.
Yeah.
In other esports news, Tekken World Tour Finals were also this morning, as Chikurin from Japan defeats Ulsan from Korea in a sweep 3-0. What a nutty final. There was one point where Ulsan, I tweeted out the video on our Twitter at the Center Ring. You can check it out, the highlight of it. It was a pixel worth of health that Chikurin had. I mean, by no means should he have survived. Comboed the hell out of it and ended up taking that round. It was nuts. Also, it's kind of crazy too. The thing that's about this is, like, once he won, every Japan fighter pretty much rushed the stage and like was throwing him up and having a good time with it. Because let me tell you what. No country, you could maybe say Korea in like StarCraft or something like that, has a lot of pressure, but Japan in fighting games don't mess around. And when Japan loses,
their thing, man.
Yeah, that is their thing. And when they lose in a fighting game, it almost looks bad on them, right? Because it's really at these fighting game events, or at least for me, it is kind of like Japan versus the world with some of these games, especially Tekken. So it is cool.
How did
to
Arsalan Ash finish in this event? Do you know?
I think he was out early.
Yeah, I know he was, like, I saw a tweet from him, you know, apologizing to the fans. He's kind of the one that I've seen just because of some of the crazy stories of how he's, you know, won it and unlikely. Kind of just curious.
Let me see here. I know he was out earlier than anticipated, but yeah, I don't know. None of these sites actually show the bracket that I'm on. But yeah, he was out earlier than anticipated. And then we kind of already brought this up earlier, but Halo, obviously on PC, being a success still despite the controller assist. Right now, concurrent players at 161,000, hitting top 5 in stream. I actually think on release day it hit top 3. So
well deserved. Again, they put out a good product, so it's been a lot of fun to play. And again, if any of y'all are playing and or would like to play, let us know.
Yeah, Philly Esports and Twitch chat, definitely. We will definitely play sometime. Just hit us up.
100%. Yeah, if anybody's interested in playing, let us know. Hop into the Discord. We're there. We're available. And we're excited. So we're enjoying it. Let us know if you want to join in.
Yes, sir. All right, that will do it for this episode of The Center Ring, aka TCR, aka your favorite esports podcast. Episode 197. It's done. It's in the books. Thank you so much for listening. If you listen to the whole thing or you skipped around, love you all the same. Again, follow us on Twitter at The Center Ring. We will be putting all the latest show news out on that. If you listen on iTunes or anything like that where you can leave a review, please do so. 5 stars if you feel like we appreciate it. We will be back Thursday. Maybe do a little bit of preview for the Blast Pro or something. Hopefully something happens between now and then. Always seems like something does, though. It's esports after all.
Come on, Call of Duty, you can do it.
If not, on Saturday, we will be doing TCR's casting couch for the final round of the Blast Pro Global Finals. And, yeah, that's it for Tim. Anuj. We'll see you next time.